It's Thursday, the 2nd of May, 2024. Welcome to the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 stories, 5 minutes, let's go. Story number 1, some of Australia's best known and most popular companies in terms of retail shareholders are struggling to provide investor returns, with share prices of energy giant Woodside, Woolworths, Miner South32, Telstra, road toll operator Transurban, and Qantas as well, all down more than 10% over the past year.
Yes, we talk about the strong performance of the S&P ASX 200. It's not far off record levels at the moment, but much of the strength has come from the big banks, gold stocks, tech stocks, and the insurers. What about the rest? Well, a bunch of household names haven't done very well. Broadly speaking, the lithium and other battery metals companies have been among the worst performers, as have some of the healthcare stocks and interest rate sensitive stocks. Think Tabcorp, Nine Entertainment, Endeavour Group, Domino's Pizza Enterprises. All had shockers, all down more than 20% over the past year. Telstra, the company with most shareholders, it's down 8% so far this year, 15% over the past 12 months. Woolies is down 15% this year, 17% for the 12 months. Woodside's 12% and 17%. And Qantas, one of the favourite among retail investors, it's off 11% over the past year, even though it is actually up 9% this year.
Now, Sean, you've said to us many times that share prices trade on future earnings. So presumably the poorly performed stocks aren't looking great then in terms of future profits?
That's what professional investors think. For all companies, there's a microeconomic environment, what's happening in the industry it operates in and within the company itself, and of course a macro environment, the big picture. Think interest rates on that one, economy slowing down. You get case Qantas is a really interesting one. Fuel costs remain high, more competition in the market. That's pushing prices down. That's very micro for that company. The much better performance in recent weeks comes on the announcement of a revamp of its frequent flyer program. In Telstra's case, it's done well in mobile phones, not so well in its enterprise operation where margins should be good. Woodside, very much a macro picture, suffered from lower energy prices relative to the previous 12 months. Also, some concerns over its climate change strategy. The moral to this story, Michael, is while the share market's doing relatively well, there's a bunch of companies that aren't.
And that's why we say we are not an investment podcast and you should seek professional advice before making investment decisions. On to story number 2 now, Sean. The federal government will invest $925 million over 5 years to permanently establish the Leaving Violence program, and National Cabinet has agreed to a number of priorities around domestic violence.
National Cabinet met yesterday and agreed to strengthen accountability and consequences for perpetrators of domestic violence, including early intervention and high-risk perpetrators and serial offenders, strengthen prevention work through targeted evidence-based approaches, and maintain a focus on missing and murdered First Nations women and children. The federal government will also introduce legislation to ban the creation and distribution of deep fake pornography. The extra funding that you mentioned, Michael, from the Leaving Violence program will provide access to up to $5,000 in financial support for people leaving violence, along with referral services, risk assessments, and safety planning.
Story number 3, Qantas is investigating a problem with its flagship mobile app after travellers reported being able to access the frequent flyer details of strangers.
A spokesman warned customers to be wary of social media scams as the malfunction in the main Qantas app gave customers access to other customers' flight details, boarding passes and personal data. Within minutes of the news breaking yesterday morning, social media pages impersonating Qantas had appeared. Incredible. Late yesterday, Qantas said a technology upgrade caused the malfunction, not a data breach. In a statement, Qantas said it's not aware of any passengers travelling with the wrong boarding passes, and customers will not have been able to transfer or use other people's points.
On to story number 4 now. This one is quite remarkable. Aussie Home Loans founder John Simon has put his prestige home up for sale with a price tag of $200 million plus, which, if it sells, will certainly be a record.
The Point Piper home in Sydney's east, it's called Wingadell, is spectacular, to say the least. And $200 million, well, that'd easily eclipse the current $130 million house record paid by Scott Farquhar, he of Atlassian fame, and his wife, venture capitalist Kim Jackson. They bought that at Point Piper. It will also beat the apartment record, $140 million, for a penthouse in Lendlease's nearly completed One Sydney Harbour Tower in Barangaroo in Sydney CBD. Mr. Simons, well, he said he just wants to spend more time overseas.
Am I correct in saying you have actually been inside this house, presumably with the owner's knowledge?
Yes, with the owner's knowledge. Beautiful home, definitely.
It's an amazing story, that one. Story number 5, last one, Sean. Adults start to get lonelier from around the age of 50 following a flurry of social activity in early middle age, scientists have found.
An analysis of 9 long-term studies of nearly 130,000 people from Western countries, including Australia, found a striking U-turn-shaped pattern of loneliness throughout life. People reported feeling lonely as young adults, which researchers said coincided with leaving school or university, maybe moving away to look for work. According to a report in the Telegraph of London, loneliness levels begin decreasing across the board for people in their 30s and 40s. Hits a low about 50 before starting to rise again and continuing to get worse for the rest of your life. Basically, researchers believe that younger, middle-aged adults are the least lonely because they're often working and raising children, meaning they have lots of social interactions. Previous research has found that loneliness and social isolation can increase the risk of premature death to levels that are comparable to a daily smoking habit. This study also found individuals with higher persistent loneliness were disproportionately women, more isolated, less educated, had lower income, and more likely to be disabled.
All right, there we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Thursday, the 2nd of May, 2024. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. And if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.